Welcome to the Social Chase, where we have discussions and conversations about autism and other special needs. We're here to talk to Miss Tracey Foskey and about her son TJ, who's on the spectrum. So, tell us a little about yourself, Miss Foskey.
Yes, hi, I'm Tracey Foskey, as Chase just said. I'm a single mom of a 15-year-old Troy, as we also call him TJ, who's autistic.
Tell us how your son impacted your life, TJ.
TJ has impacted my life in a great way. Sometimes we have these kids and we're not expecting to get a child with special needs, so your life take a different turn than what you expected. But it was a good turn for me because at the same time I was able to learn more about myself while, helping Troy get the services he needs. So it taught me patience. It opened up a lot of doors for me, opened up a lot of doors for Troy, not only myself.
Nice. So how old was your son TJ when he was diagnosed?
TJ was 3 years old when he was diagnosed with autism.
What you've been doing with him for your life?
So when he first got his diagnosis at the age of 3, initially I was kind of shocked, like, not my son. Now, you guys have the wrong child. This is not my kid. But I know staying in that stance or staying in that mind thought that TJ wouldn't have progressed as much as he had today. So I knew that I had to hurry up and get out of that and do what I need to do for TJ so that he can progress and be able to live a normal life and interact with his peers. So I just started, doing my research, looking for services that could help Troy, with his speech, with his occupational therapy, just help Troy to, not be normal, but to be able to interact with his peers.
I think that's very important. One of the key things you said is not to stay stuck in that diagnosis of autism. Because some parents stay stuck in the diagnosis of autism and think the world is going to end for them in some cases. But some of us parents look at that saying, what are we going to do now?
Yes.
And I think that's one of the most empowering things that was for us and my husband. When I looked at him and said, okay, what do we do now? I said, what are we going to do? We're going to take care of our son. So with your information of learning about your son, Troy, he has autism, you started researching, but not only that, you also started a foundation.
Yes.
So can you please share about your foundation with us?
Yes, Troy is my inspiration. He is what gave me the hope, and I knew that, for myself, it was tough looking for the services, and I'm born and raised in New Hallville, in the inner city, and I want to give back to the community and work with parents who may not know where to start for the services for their kids. So I started Total Joy RU Autism Foundation in January 2015.
I love that. I love that name, Total Joy. Total Joy RU. So what do you offer to parents to help inspire them, to help them educate them? What do you do in your foundation?
So I offer monthly support groups for the parents raising their children on the spectrum. We do bi-monthly social activities with the children. We have trainers come in and teach the parents how to become effective advocates for their children and PPTs at medical appointments. We try to make it work. It's like our own community.
So she's empowering other parents, and that's important. Education is key. When you go to your meetings with the school system, we talked about PPTs earlier in episode, and how that's so important, and IEPs, and knowing what your right is, and IDA. Yes. And a lot of parents don't realize that. So with your foundation, it's so important. Yes. And it's also important to know that they feel comfortable with somebody in their community who could understand them as well.
Yes.
So in terms of, have you received any feedback from parents of how much this has impacted their lives and how important it is for them to have this type of community around them?
Yes, some parents was like, I didn't know that I could make decisions about my child's IEP. I thought what they wrote down was what I was supposed to go with.
Right.
And I tell them, no, you know your child better than anyone.
Right.
And first of all, the PPT shouldn't be written without you being involved anyway.
Right.
So just knowing that they have a voice
Right.
and that they now can be a part of their child's PPT, I mean,
Yeah.
that's enough for me, knowing that, you know, this person was empowered by that, and now they know that, you know what, my child doesn't need speech therapy once a week. My child needs speech therapy 3 times a week.
Right.
So knowing that, and knowing that you are your child's best advocate, and no one knows your child better than you,
Right.
who better
Right.
to sit at that table to make the decision about your child?
Right. So, how old is TJ now?
15.
He's 15. So how is it with an adolescent now? I mean, we're coming to hormone area, right? So how is that going, and how does he relate to? Because so there's a whole big conversation about levels of autism, DSMs, and high functioning and severe. But as parents, we just say what we think.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so I can't say DSM 1, 2, 3, 4 because no one on TV is going to really know what that really means.
No.
So, and how would you best describe TJ and some of the challenges with becoming a teenager now, being at 15?
Yes.
And you know, he's a boy.
Yes.
So what are some of those challenges that you could share with our audience?
Troy, I don't like to use the term highly functional autism or lower functional autism. I like to use the term Troy's autistic, and his challenges are his social skills and his comprehension. And right now, being a teenager, going through puberty, his social skills are the worst for him. Like, people don't understand him. And you know, it's hard trying to explain to him, like, Troy, okay, they don't understand you. You're gonna have to make them understand you. You don't have to fit in, but they do need to understand you and respect you. So it's just teaching people how to treat you.
Right.
So that's tough for us right now because he's in high school. Yes, it's tough.
So one of the things at the high school that worked well with us is that we had the school system get the typical kids involved.
Yes.
So we did lunch bunches with some of the typical kids, and during Autism Awareness Month, all the school kids, she had, so Brandy Bogley was his behavioral therapist,
Okay.
and she had a program where the juniors had to apply to be the ambassador for that year.
Okay.
And they got a program together during Autism Awareness Month. And then during the lunchtime, they had a little program, and all the typical kids got involved with the special needs children as well.
Awesome.
So I think that was very powerful, and it works marvelous with those individuals who are neurotypical in our children. So
I love that idea. I'm currently working with a group of high students at his school, New Haven Academy, in New Haven
good.
Academy, in New Haven, Connecticut, and they're student volunteers who we meet once a month.
Nice.
And we're, you know, working up towards the month of Autism Awareness Month. And what we're doing is they're meeting and they're getting community service hours through the foundation, and they're also raising awareness on autism.
Right.
But those ideas are great, and I'll bring that to the table at our next meeting.
Yeah, so it's so important to get sometimes we like to stay in our own little safe bubble, and we have to get them out there because, like, we have to go into their world, and they feel good about it. And even with your foundation and you touching parents and helping them empower you, is that a great feeling?
Yes, it's an awesome feeling.
Right.
It's an awesome feeling. Just like you said, when I started out in the beginning, I didn't know where I was going, and I didn't like that feeling, and so I didn't want anyone else to have go through that feeling, and I just wanted to start the group so that I could, walk with the parents through that.
I give you a lot of credit starting a nonprofit. I said I am not starting a nonprofit. I'm just going to do my little volunteer work, because nonprofit, that's a lot of work, and so I hope people understand and really appreciate all that you're really doing to help out the community, because it's important, and it's important to support it as well. I mean, I know you do a lot of fundraisers, you have a lot of nice things you sell. So she's on Instagram, we'll put it at the end. She's on Facebook.
Yes.
So she puts a lot of great information out there, a lot of nice quotes about autism that you could steal and use it on your page.
Yep, you sure can. That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
But the more we have our voice, the more we could be heard. And so I think it's so important for the local organizations, and it's important to have the national organizations, because we need a voice all over the place.
We do.
And so, Tracey, we really appreciate it. I don't know if TJ wants to come say hi on the screen or not. That's a no.
No, Troy doesn't want to come on the
You want
camera.
to come on camera to say hi and go away?
All right, you're going to
Okay.
come say hi? Thank you.
Yes. Hello.
Say hello.
Thank you. He's out.
He's out.
Wow.
So that's what we do. We challenge our kids.
Yes, yes.
And it's important for us to challenge not only them but ourselves. I'm not sure about you, but sometimes we are so protective of our children,
yes.
almost over protective of our children. I admit to that. You know, that sometimes, you know, are we really helping them? So sometimes we just gotta challenge ourselves
Yes.
as well as them. And we had a conversation with another person that was saying, the kids are happy. It's not them, it's
It's
us.
us. Yes, you're
us.
absolutely right.
They're fine. Are you happy, Chase?
Yep.
Yeah. So I like to say, he's happy, I'm happy, but there's a world out
Yes,
there.
yes.
And so that's why we have foundations like Tracey's to help you out and help you with this journey of autism and see what you can do to make a difference in your life as well as others, because
Yes.
you have to share your story. You know, as we say in certain areas that you share your story, you give your testimony.
Absolutely.
And that's so important, to share your testimony and not be embarrassed by it, because this is what God has given us.
Yeah.
This is what we have, and we do what we can in
Absolutely.
the best way that we can.
Yeah.
And so, is there anything else you want to add?
No,
Tracy?
thank you for having me on this
Well,
show,
we
and
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
And her foundation is in New Haven, but we travel, so you could go there if you wanted to see her. But we'll share the information at the end of the show for Tracey. I'll put her Instagram tag and all that type of stuff up there.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you again.
Yes, you will.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Tracey.
you. Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right, thank you.
Welcome to The Social Chase. I'm Allie, your host for today, and Chase is our co-host for today. Please welcome Darlene
Happy to be here.
and Noreen.
Hello.
Autism is a spectrum, and there are many types of autism. Darlene, please tell me a little bit about your family and the type of autism your child has.
Sure. I have two children. I have a daughter who's 12, who's typical, and I have a son, Ben, who's 18, who has autism. Ben has nonverbal autism. So when he was about 2, he was diagnosed with autism, so we started having him do different therapies, ABA and different speech pathology. Speech pathologists would come and work with him, and occupational therapists. But for whatever reason, he didn't respond the way some other children do with autism and learn to talk. So he never learned to talk. So he's considered severe autism, and he also has an intellectual disability.
Noreen, can you please share the same things about your child?
Sure. So I have two children also, and I have a son who is Weller, and he is 18. He has autism. His autism used to be called PDD-NOS, and now I would call it about middle autism is the way I think of it. And I also have another son who's 15 who is not on the autism spectrum. And Weller was diagnosed when he was about 2.5 years old, which is a little bit late. It was hard to get in to see a doctor, I remember. We were concerned that something was a little bit not developing properly with him. So we did get him diagnosed, and he's doing pretty well right now. He's 18 years old. He just finished high school, and he's in another program now.
Interesting stories. So, what have you learned about raising a kid with autism?
One thing I've learned is that sometimes autism just unfolds, and you might be doing different therapies or going down certain paths and thinking that's the right path, but sometimes it's just the person's going to be the person. And I think I've also learned to change my expectations, because I remember Christmas time, this time of year, being sad because I didn't feel like as a family we were having the same kind of Christmases that I thought we'd have. Like, for example, my son Ben doesn't like to open presents. Right? So I thought, oh, wow. And then Santa would come, and instead of getting excited, he'd be afraid. Or we would have a special tradition, and we had to light this candle, and he always just wanted to blow it out right away. And so I really felt sad. And then one year we decided, well, what does Ben like to do? This isn't what he likes. And so we skipped Christmas altogether, and we went to a hotel that had a wave pool, and we went there instead. And it was a great Christmas because we just changed our expectations and did it from his point of view. So that's one thing I learned.
Yeah. And what have I learned about autism? I learned a lot. I didn't know anything about autism initially. I had barely even heard about autism when my son was young. One of the biggest things I've learned is that it's very important as a mom to make friends and to meet other moms and dads who have kids with autism, and to share things together, to talk about things, learn from them, and maybe be sad together, share our happy things that happen with our kids together. I've also learned about autism that there's a big range of people with autism, and some people with autism speak, some people don't speak, they use other devices. Some people, learn things quickly. Some people it takes a very long time to learn things. One of the big things I've learned is that some people with autism have areas of interest that are very intense, and I used to be concerned about that with my son. Why is he only want to watch Thomas the Train all the time? Why does he care so much about Thomas the Train? And kind of when you let that go and think of it as a special thing and something that brings them joy, I think that is one thing that makes things almost easier and something to celebrate.
I just want to echo what you said about friends, because I think having really good friends that understand your family is really important. When my son was young, kids would have birthday parties and you invite everyone. But it became really clear fast that he was having trouble controlling his impulses around food. And so he'd be grabbing the cake or grabbing all the pizza. And we didn't get as many invitations after a while. So we found that just naturally you start surrounding yourself with people who just get you. And if you do that, life becomes a lot easier. So friends, family, just people who have big hearts and understand. A couple things my son does that's a little different is that he does something called stimming. It's self-stimulation to help him settle his nervous system. So he might do things with his hands, or he might even hurt himself. So he might hit himself in the head and do things like that, self-injurious behavior. And so that gets to be really difficult.
Mm-hmm. So as you can tell, Darlene and I are very good friends. So it's awesome to meet a mom that you really understand. Our kids are not particularly similar in many ways, but they are friends in the way that they are friends together. Mm-hmm. And it's just really important, and it's one of the best things in life, I think.
Well, I would like to know how your children are preparing for adulthood.
So my son right now, he went to public high school until last spring, and then he transferred to a special autism school. And the first thing we started thinking about is in the transition program, which is from age 18 to 21 for people with autism who remain in the school system, is, well, what is he transitioning to? So what kind of transition skills should we be learning? And so we did some research together, and one of the things I learned that for people with severe autism, the options are really limited as to what's available after 21. So you can, what used to be developed in the 1970s, for example, are something called sheltered workshops, where people can go and work on jobs. Those are now being closed, and there's nothing replacing them. So then we're kind of back to the drawing table of, well, what are we transitioning to? What is there for 21? And so then we went and we researched, and we went to the Department of Developmental Services and asked them, and they are actually looking at how they approached autism and vocational services, and they're changing. And so right now, there's really no options for people with severe autism when they turn 21, but we're hoping to change that. So we're trying to develop programs. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, I'm going to backtrack just a tiny bit. And as I said, Weller had what I would call mid-range autism. He also has an intellectual disability. So a lot of people, when he finished high school, said, oh, where's he going to go to college? And that was not recommended for Weller. Academically, college is not for him. So he's in a post-secondary program also through our town. And he's learning job skills and life skills, things like cooking, etc. But as Darlene said, what's going to happen when he turns 21? Why is, he's learning to work at CVS, fixing the shelves, but he needs a helper to help him with that. He's probably not going to be able to go there and do it on his own. So we are thinking, okay, so what does that really mean? We're training for these things, but we're not really going to get the job. So as Darlene said, we are trying to be creative and think, what can our kids do? And even though our kids aren't exactly the same, they could do something in a similar setting.
And they enjoy having a purpose. They enjoy working together. And so one thing we started was a club in high school where they can work together building businesses. So we try to think of what they're interested in, what are their passions in high school, and we work with peer mentors to help our club members really develop those skills and create businesses at the high school level where the community is very supportive. And then we hope to, as we develop those businesses, a educational therapist or psychology student could say, let's improve this workspace and this work environment so that your workday goes a little more smoothly. So you'd have a new set of eyes every semester to really look at the businesses and look at the work environment and keep everybody moving forward with a purpose.
So we're hoping to have this makerspace where our sons and others can go to, so they will have a place to go, they will have a job to do, a purpose. They will get to socialize, with coworkers. They will hopefully have somewhere to exercise and go on community outings and be a part of the community. Because isn't that what everybody wants? They want to have a job and they want to go out to the community and enjoy the place they live in.
And right now, for these levels of autism, those type of options don't exist. So there are different customized employment options. But that's really for people who have more minimum wage level skills. And so if you don't have those types of skills, your job options are much fewer.
That's true.
So, any words of wisdom you'd like to share with parents?
Well, we started, as we said, I think the biggest words of wisdom are to find your people, find parents that have kids on the autism spectrum. We're learning at this point in our lives, we're meeting a lot of self-advocates on the autism spectrum. So they're adults, and they're kind of giving us a glimpse into how things were when they were growing up, how they feel about things, what things they think are important. And it's kind of a whole new way of us looking at things.
So your just grow your community with an open heart and an open mind, and also your expectations as a family, try to adjust that to your individual with autism also. So if something's not going to work, that's been a tradition with grandma for years, we all dress up and go to the restaurant, maybe we can wear sweatpants at the restaurant this year, or have it at home, or just, you really have got to look at it through the eyes of the person with autism.
Can you please share with us your biggest struggles with having a kid on the spectrum?
So I think Darlene and our kids are really different, and we probably have different challenges in each of our families. I think as a mom, I kind of forget to let my son learn and do things on his own, because the mom in me, he needs help kind of getting dressed sometimes. He's learning to cook at school, but that doesn't really transfer into cooking at home. I tend to be the mom that does things for him, and I think that's a pretty natural thing. So I need to let go. Through the years, there have been definite struggles. I think it's hard to be a sibling and have, you know, my younger son has a brother with autism, and I think he's become older because of that in a way, because he feels like he needs to take care of him and watch out for him all the time. So it's a nice thing, but it's been a struggle. When Weller was younger, he had a lot of things. You know, loud sounds were very hard for him. So being out in public was hard. Being in church, sometimes if people clapped, really bothered him. He was scared of different things. Very fearful of animals. He's very trusting. If someone said, "Come with me," he is a people pleaser, and he would go right with them. You know, he would help anyone out or give anyone anything. So learning about danger, it's kind of a sad thing. You don't want your child to be mistrusting, and trust is a beautiful thing, but as a parent, we have fears because of those things. Mm-hmm. And what about you?
Ben has significant challenges, so we have help that comes to our home to help us with Ben. So Ben needs help using utensils to eat. He needs help in the bathroom to make sure everything goes all right. He has trouble sleeping, so he's often up in the middle of the night. And because he has impulsive food issues, it's not like he's going downstairs watching a movie. He might be eating things that he shouldn't eat. In the past, he's eaten insulation because it looks like cotton candy a little bit. And other things he's eaten. So we really have to be on top of him. He can't bathe or shower himself. He won't be able to do things like drive and live on his own and those type of things. And since he's nonverbal, even if he knows what he wants, he really has a tough time sharing that with us. So he has an iPad which has a program that has a voice output, so he can say cookie, cookie, cookie with it. But he can't say someone called me a name or someone was mean to me. So we'll never know that. He came off the van from school Friday, and he was crying really hard. And I don't remember the last time that happened. We tried to figure out, what happened, Ben? What's the matter? Why are you sad? What's going on? And we still don't know. So he's really vulnerable, significantly. We need help with him, but we still try to give him a good life. We try to bring him out to concerts and bring him out to things in the community. But because he's so impulsive around food, he'll just, if there's a highway, he'll cross the highway to get that Dunkin' Donuts bag. So he doesn't recognize danger. So it's a real challenge.
Well, thank you for sharing. You guys coming here taught us, and hopefully our viewers, that it only takes one mom to make a difference.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Chase.
Thank you very much.